Enough is enough already, and it's time to level up. And that's what this video is all about. So here I am in my new backyard. I don't know if you know this, but I moved 4 states from Oregon to Colorado Springs recently. And I am so happy to be here. So we are on a little hike, and this place is called Blodgett Open Space. And we're at the tip top of a mountain, and I wanted to share a few things with you. So in this live stream, we are going to talk about a session that I had from a client who says, "Help, I want more, but I don't know how." So what I want to do is to dive really deep here and talk to you a little bit about this. So one of the things that I want to share with you is something that a lot of businesses do that we could adopt in our own lives that could upgrade our lives starting today. And that is creating policies and procedures in our life. So, you know, when you're going shopping at Amazon.com and you know, you kind of have an expectation of what kind of experience you're going to have there, and you realize that if you need to return something, that you typically want, you know that you have to abide by their rules and regulations, you know, that they've set up. So that is not something that's really unusual. All businesses set up policies and procedures and how they run their business and how the experience is for their clients and their customers, what sort of behavior they want from their clients and their customers. So the thing about it that is so valuable is systems in place. It creates a sense of harmony within the business and, of course, the clients and customers. So in our own life, we could really take some lessons from businesses today. So what I would like for you to do is to really consider not doing things like business people do in your own personal life, because I think that would be a little rigid. But I think what we need to do in our own personal life is to create the policies and procedures in how we want to run our life and how we expect people to treat us and what we can do to help make others in our life feel good, right? So we typically don't. We wake up every morning and, you know, we have our coffee time, and we get ourselves ready, we go to work and whatever it is, and we deal with the children. And we don't really think about experiences and how we want to experience our life. And what sorts of experiences that we want our loved ones to feel based on the energy that we give out, right? I mean, I can only speak for myself and from the clients that I've worked with, but oftentimes they don't. They literally just get up with their routine and they just go on with their life. So what we need to do is to decide what it is we want. So one of the things that I've discovered that holds people back in doing something like this is, number one, they don't want to take the time. They feel like taking this time to do this work is something that they just can't afford, right? They say to themselves, "I don't have time for that sort of stuff." But the fact of the matter is that if you don't take the time to do these kinds of setup, you don't have the systems in place, and you're always going to live the exact same life that you want. So I had a client who says to me, "You know, it's been really hard for me to admit, but I want to be more." And so, you know, talking with her, I soon discover that she thinks that she's both not enough and too much. So she's not enough because she's feeling like she's not fulfilling her own destiny, but also she feels like she's too much because if she lets it all out, she creates the life that she wants, and she starts creating the person that she wants to be, that she sees herself envisioning in her mind to be, she will intimidate people and scare people away. Well, therein lies the second reason why we don't create the policies and procedures in our own life. We are afraid of judgment, and we are afraid that we won't be accepted. We are afraid to grow because when we grow, those people that are around us, our loved ones who are the closest to us, sometimes don't grow. And you realize, you know intellectually, that if you grow beyond how they grow, that relationship might end. And that's a really tough reality. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, I fought that for many, many years. Many, many years. I remember when my children were very young, my two oldest then, I was the client that I was talking about. And I wanted more out of my life. And I couldn't believe that the relationships that I had were not in the same place I was. And so for the next 10 years or more, actually, we lived this way. We lived in a way that I was holding myself down and I was being just enough. I love the birds, isn't that great? And this other person was, my husband at the time, was just going through his life like what I talked about, you know, getting up in the morning and having coffee time, breakfast, and getting on with work, and there was nothing more. And there were no policies and procedures in place for how he wanted to up-level his life. And I would say I started getting more and more courage. It was mostly about 5 years before our marriage ended where I would actually say, look, you know, I want to go on this journey to create this person that I saw inside of myself I wanted to be. But I wanted to go on that journey with him. And it just, that message was said over and over and over again, and it just never penetrated because I think he was so busy going through his own life in the mundane. We've talked about that in the different levels of life that we live. And I had just decided that I had enough at one point after wanting this and wanting this and wanting this. And I saw this in my client recently. Actually, this was yesterday. And so I felt like this was something that a lot of people are dealing with. So understanding that, you know, it's hard to start talking to yourself about taking that time to work out these systems, again, with how we want to run our life and how we want people to treat us, and how we want to treat others. And then realizing that there's that fear and the judgment and being accepted, because ultimately every human wants to be accepted. But then there's the last part of it that is the most difficult, is realizing that once you put these leveling up systems in place, that you will grow and some of the people around you will not grow. And therein lies why people stay stuck. So if you are in that situation where you feel like you want to level up, but you're nervous and you're scared, I want to empower you to decide that you are enough to do this. You are both not enough and too much, just like me and just like my client. And that's okay. So we have to accept ourselves for who we are and say enough is enough already, and it's time to level up. And that's what this video is all about. So I want you to sit there and write down a time in your schedule that you could set aside an hour at least and think about policies and procedures that you want to put in place so that you could up-level your life. Do the work, and I promise you, you will master every area of your life if you do this. So that's all I have for you, and I'm so glad you got to be here today. I hope you enjoyed my new home, the Blodgett Open Space here in Colorado Springs, and I hope to see you next time. So this is Sharon Koenig from Fearless Pursuits. I'm out.